Naya tokens, man, we've been here before. Now listen, there's a lot of information on the internet about old Judy Hopps here, of Zootopia fame. You know, I did a little research for this video. So what about old Thickie here, Baylen the Haymaker? A lot of sweet build-arounds in this set, and more coming out every day, man. I'm jamming out here with a little time on my hands. I'm listening to conspiracy theories. I'm listening to some dark metal out there, and I came upon the Haymaker here. I can't help but think this is well-trodden territory, right? Been quite a few Naya token commanders in recent years. Kind of all started with Gared, Conclave Exile. This guy's a population machine. He wants bigger creatures to make bigger tokens. Neat card, can be pretty powerful with the right build-around. This dude doesn't really have the power to be an effective attacker though. Then we got Jetmir, Nexus or Revels. This guy has all kinds of abilities on him, man. Cat Demon. Aren't all cats demons? Jetmir has been the premier token commander for a while now. This is a very good card. The way to 9 creatures is paved wall to wall with token creators. Now Baylen here lends herself more to a Voltron strategy, is a great enabler, does everything you want to do, draws cards, ramps stuff up. Let's read the card, talk about some includes and spicy tech. But first, gently rub the like and subscribe buttons, buddy. Gaze upon the wall of patrons, say their names with reverent pride. For the cost of a delicious cup of coffee, you can be one too. Baylen the Haymaker, red, green, and a white for a legendary creature, Rabbit Warrior. It's a 4/3. Tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Tap 3 untapped tokens you control, draw a card, buddy. Tap 4 untapped tokens you control, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Balin, gains trample until end of turn. So if you created 4 tokens with Summoning Sickness, you can still tap them as a part of the cost for Balin's ability. They don't need haste, dude. Baylen is tapping them down. Also remember, these abilities can be activated at instant speed whenever you have priority. And interestingly, this guy doesn't say anything about creature tokens. This damn thing can tap down tokens of any stripe, clues, food, treasures, whatever you want to make. Incidentally, this card is cheaper than I've ever seen it, the Reaver Cleaver. 2 and a red for a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens. Has equipped for 3. Treasures is definitely a way to go. This creature with Academy Manufactor and Zorn is going to be pretty nuts. Baylen looks like she'd carry around a Reaver Cleaver, but you know what? You have a cute little rabbit, so how about a cute hobbit peasant, man? Rosie Cotton of South Lane. 2 and a white for a legendary creature, Halfling Peasant. It's a 1/1. Whenever this thing enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. That's going to be your commander, dude. I always feel bad sending hobbits into attack or something, though. They have no offensive weapons. Now take a look at this guy. He's just chilling out with a bunch of toddlers here, dude. Samwise Gamgee. Green and a white legendary creature, Halfling Peasant. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token. Sacrifice a couple foods, return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, look at this guy. He's supposed to be charging into battle, right? With a bunch of barefoot cherubs, dude. That's pretty underwhelming. But the ability to mash out tokens seems pretty nice, man. Quite a bit in this Lord of the Rings set. And for sheer token efficiency, you have Farmer Cotton out there. This guy's X green and a white, legendary creature, Halfling Peasant. It's a 1/1. When he enters the battlefield, create X 1/1 white Halfling creature tokens and X food tokens. So it's begun at last. I've been itching for trouble all this year. Come, get your armor. This guy at least looks like he could hack up a ham or something, dude. He's Antifa out there. He's inciting a damn riot. So the way I would build this thing, you want mass token creators. Early game, you're building up your army, ramping up, using tokens to ramp up Balin's second ability, ramping to secure the waste, dude. That's a good one. Probably one of the most efficient token creators out there. Song of Toten Taz is pretty efficient. X and a red for a sorcery, create X 1/1 black rat creature tokens. With this creature can't block, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. And you got Finale of Glory out there, blast out a bunch of 2/2 creatures. And of course you have all the token doublers in these colors. You got Mondrak out there, Primal Vigor, Parallel Lives, O'Hare Tack, Doubling Season, Anointed Procession. Combined, these cards will run you $7 billion in 2 Tesla Cybertrucks. Not strictly necessary to build, but hey dude, print out a proxy for $1. You know what I mean? Sue me, wizards. You know, I don't even have any Cybertrucks. And you know what? I built my $70 budget deck without any of these things. Don't need them. Now your commander is going to be a big target, because once you start pumping out tokens, you can activate her last ability a couple times, start banging in as a big old 13-12 or something. But what if she gets swords to plowshared? What if she gets plowed, as we say? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to run some other cards like Divine Visitation. 3 white for an enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. That's a spicy meatball, dude. The way I built this thing, most of it is creatures. You do have some incidental treasures and foods and stuff like that. This is a fantastic card in any token deck. Now I just wanted to mention this guy because he's really cute, the Devilish Valet. 2 and a red for a creature Devil Warrior. It's a 1/3 with trample and haste. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double this guy's power until end of turn. Nobody thought twice about checking their weapons at the door. But you know what? This guy stole all the weapons, dude. He's like a big old Voltron out there. This guy gets big real fast, man. Make 5 tokens with Totem Taz, right? And now it's a 32/3, taking out the trash. Now this card is kind of a classic, but you know what? I lean on the classics, dude. Beastmaster Ascension, 2 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on this thing. As long as it has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. Suddenly banging in with a bunch of 6/6 soldiers or whatever, dude. It's gonna end the game, man. You ever take a look at this guy? Jazal Goldmane, 2 white legendary creature, cat warrior. It's a 4/4 with first strike. Has 3 white. Attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Love the art on this guy. It's just a loincloth and a beautiful mane of hair, buddy. Looks like a young Nikki G before all my hair fell out, you know what I'm saying? This is a late game mana sink that can get your tokens overwhelmingly huge. Now at this point in our lives, you know, we've all been alive for approximately 100 years at this point, the way that the years go by now. We all know Avenger of Zendikar is a good card. There are a bunch of cards like this that ETB make a number of creature tokens, so you may want to run some token copy effects like Delina Wild Mage. Now none of these are as efficient as Avenger of Zendikar, but a lot of them are much cheaper, 7 mana. Token swarms are also pretty vulnerable. You may want to run some protection. Rootborn Defense is really good in this deck. How about the old Guardian of Faith? 1 white, creature Spirit Knight. It's a 3/2, flash vigilance. When this guy enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. Phasing is a little better for token swarms. You know, Ghostway, Eerie Interlude, they exile. Tokens dissipate in exile, but phasing doesn't kill your tokens. The other sweet part is that the tokens can help pay for the mana cost of this guy, or a protection spell if Baylen's out there. And as always, we want to run some board wipes and some removal in here, dude, and we want those to create tokens if possible. Azorius Predation can create a number of impactful tokens at a low. You're slapping down 5/4/4s making stuff happen, dude. This card used to be a little pricier, but is now about 89 cents. Martial Coup, another classic card. I usually sandbag this, wipe the board, have a nice suite of tokens ready to rock, dude. It's versatile, it's like 9 cents. Arachnogenesis, 2 and a green for an instant, create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spider creatures. So these are 1/2s. You're probably not wiping the board with this, but this is an instant army. Can be a huge swing, dude. This is under $3 right now. And as far as removal goes, Aura Mutation, Artifact Mutation are both 40 cents. These can murder a threat, make you a couple tokens. These cards are mid, you know, but better in this deck. Sunder and Growth is a little more versatile, but gets you a maximum of 1 token. And finally, you have these untappers. Drumbellower, fantastic. 2 and a white creature spirit, it's a 2/1, flying. Untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. This guy's just the spirit of John Bonham out there tapping those skins into the night, brother. Seedborn Muse, another fantastic card in this deck. But how about this guy? Quest for Renewal, 1 and a green enchantment. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on it. As long as there are 4 more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. This synergizes with our tap tokens, our mana dorks, any attacking creatures. This uncommon from the original Zendikar block is like $4. Needs a reprint for sure. Know all these extra combat spells, make sure you read them very carefully, like Aurelia the War Leader here. Whenever Aurelia attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So listen, man, it was April of 2023. I made a big deal of how cheap this card was. I did a whole video on it, picked one up for $374. I just looked up my order history. Granted, it was the ugly Multiverse Legends version. That doesn't matter to the hyenas out there, dude. But anyways, man, this card's back up to $10, but it says untap all creatures you control. Tap them down with Baylen, then do it again, man. Now just remember, those extra combat spells can be really good, but are pricey sometimes in real world money. If you have 10 tokens or creatures that can tap for 5 mana and Balin out there, you can go infinite with Aggravated Assault. So this has 3 red, untap all creatures you control. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Activate only as a sorcery. That's one way to go, man. Now, I will never stop recommending this card, Mob Rule. Sorcery, 4 red, choose one. Gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until end of turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn, or you can do the same thing with creatures power 3 or less. So tap down your tokens, draw a card, pump your commander or whatever, then cast this. Untap them all, do it again, dude. This card doesn't specify opponent's creatures, and the rulings even mention that. Mob Rule can affect creatures you already control or ones that are already untapped. It'll untap them if applicable, and it'll give them haste. Mob Rule is such a phenomenal card. Jujitsu's your opponent's board state into an advantage. I've won with this card so many times, man, so versatile. But if you have a bit of a budget, Porphyro Scout of the Forge is going to win you the game. Make some tokens, man. Deal damage all around the table. That's it. This guy just wins games. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Porphyro deals 2 damage to each opponent. He's got a little pump on the bottom for 2 and a red as well. Anyways, man, really fun build around, very similar to Jetmir, competent budget commander. I've put together a $75 budget deck shell, not including the cost of the commander, because it isn't out yet, man. Settle down, dude. It's not even released, but it gives you an idea of where you can go with this guy. I think people dislike this commander so far, because it just kind of does everything. It's a little too efficient, you know? You want to draw cards? Here you go. You want to ramp? Here you go, dude. It's a little too good, it's a little too broad. But time will tell, man. Nikki G, Better Commander, signing off.